This is the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS show with John Impemba and James Grande.
What's going on, FA Nation? John Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Playbook live show. It is DraftKings 4-game main slate here today. They cut off the late games, which is not great, but one of those late games does start at 11 p.m. Eastern time because it is the NBC Tuesday slate here. So I guess we get saved a little bit from when we had to deal with that. Was it last week? We had 3 full hours to go before the final late night hammer game tipped off. So we're only focusing on the 4 here. This is kind of a pretty interesting slate, Grande. A lot of high game totals, a lot of close spreads. It should be a fun one, man.
Yeah, battle. I mean, you didn't mention the most important thing, a battle for first place in the Eastern Conference between Philly and Chicago, but you can just ignore that. But I do appreciate you wearing your red to represent the Bulls. I'm also, John, wearing a Bulls t-shirt, so we're both
Full support.
We're both in full support of the number 1 ranked team in the Eastern Conference after tonight.
Yeah, 240 total, 1 point spread.
It's a really good environment. It's a really good game.
There's a lot to like about that game today. As I said, though, Milwaukee, Toronto a 3-point home favorite, 237.5 there. I know we talked and speculated a lot during the preview show. Well, maybe Giannis doesn't play on the back-to-back. He looks good to go. They look full strength, and so is Toronto. So that one should be pretty fun. No defense being played on the Toronto side yet. They're home favorites. Charlotte, New Orleans, LaMelo Ball out. Zion Williamson out. 229 total there. 2.5 point spread. A lot of value to help you get some of these top spend ups in those 2 games. Philadelphia, Chicago, as you talked about, the Bulls are 1 point home favorites. 240 total there. Orlando, Atlanta, 229.5 total. Orlando, a 3.5 point road favorite. So that's that slate for you. Those 4 games, a lot of top plays here. Like I said, where do you want to begin? I mean, Giannis is the only guy up over $10,000 on this slate, which brings us to Maxey at 99, Giddey at 91 as your top 2 guys. And then it drops all the way down to Sexton at 67, a point guard. So pick one today, Maxey or Giddey.
I am having a hard time, bias aside, just not clicking Josh Giddey's name. Not that I think Maxey's a bad play. He's obviously been as safe a floor as any player in the NBA this year. There's a lot to like about what's going on with Josh Giddey on the court right now. First in potential assists and actual assists, obviously. The ball in his first in passes received, first in passes made on the team. The minutes have trended way up over the last 2 games, 38 minutes in each of the last 2 games. That includes a 12-point loss that wasn't even 12. It was more like 20 when the Bulls made a little bit of a run. The scoring continues to be there. And this is a matchup against Philly where I've talked about it a few times on the show. Philly's primary reason they're 5-1 is because they're the second rated offense and they're 0.2 percentage points behind Houston for number 1 overall. Their defense is lagging pretty far behind. They're 19th in defensive rating.
Yeah.
It's a really good matchup. Philly's not playing overly fast. Like, this is a pace-up spot for Philadelphia and Maxey. I don't really want to pick between them. I think both of them are very good options. If I had to choose, it would be Giddey. But I think there's a case to just play them both in a 240 implied point total with a 1 point spread. And, there's a lot to like about Giddey getting to the rim tonight. We've talked about Embiid struggles laterally and his ability to just leave the floor. Not saying he can't get off on offense
He's not even really trying to contest, really defensively. No. So, I mean, that's almost not even as big of a concern. You have seen Giddey obviously take a decent amount of free throws, last game not really withstanding. But it's a 28% usage rate that obviously stands out. It's the elite 1.44 fantasy points per minute that stands out. They're few players on the slate that get to that level today here. So I'm with you. If you checked out my my DFS video that we put out over at Fantasy on YouTube channel, Giddy is the point guard in that video. For today's slate, you get a little bit of a discount off Maxi. It's no knock on Maxi. I mean, Maxi's elite. Honestly, you can play them both. Daniel says here, I want them both. Yeah, I think there's value on the slate that can help you get there. Value is at guard, so you kind of maneuver where you want to go with that. But Giddy and Maxi certainly two strong plays here today. Going down the list, Colin Sexton, Emmanuel Quickly, Jordan Poole, and Rollins are your next point guards here. You kind of talked me into Sexton after our discussion last evening. Again, I was a little less enamored with the 10 points. I wanted to see more scoring out of him. He did have 12 assists. Other guys around him did a lot of the scoring with Canepo and Bridges, obviously. Usage rate was still good. He just missed his shots. If he hit a couple of more threes, the numbers look better overall. And we are talking about the Pelicans. They're 29th in defensive rating. You've called out they have, 3 30-point losses already?
3 30-point losses
on the season. So, yes, $6,700 price on the rise here, but we know Sexton is a guy that could very easily go and put up 40, 50 fantasy points when things are going good for him.
I mean, didn't play the final 6 minutes of the game too. Like, I'm not saying he would have played all 6, but there was definitely multiple more minutes to be had for Colin Sexton. Where like Sion James Knipple closed essentially, like that's, get the young players closing, but in this closer game, yeah, I think Sexton looks great. 14 opportunities. Dude, he received 70 passes in that game. They were just feeding Sexton. Everything was funneling through Colin Sexton like it was LaMelo Ball, essentially. Yeah. 25% usage is nothing to scoff at.
Yeah.
Against the 29th ranked defense, just because he, the two downsides were the shots that he missed, obviously, and that he had 6 turnovers. But this is also a proven 20-point scorer in the league, throughout his career. He did that multiple times with Cleveland. So, I think 67 is not too expensive for Sexton. And I think, you can make a case that he's one of the better tournament plays of the day, because I saw Cam the Man type like Jordan Poole, right? Like the whole focus is going to be gravitating towards New Orleans. Like they're missing 2 starters tonight, Neves Messi and Zion Williamson.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it shouldn't be, but you're even just looking at the ownership upon the initial rule out, Poole has already leapfrogged Colin Sexton. Both are point guard, shooting guard eligible. So that's not even kind of the reason why Jordan Poole is getting the ownership over him. And Sexton, if Jordan Poole starts, then I eat my words here, but Sexton's role is just better. Sure. Jordan Poole got shifted to the bench. Again, we'll see if that continues, if they just go with the Fears Poole backcourt, which I fears is the worst case scenario for all parties.
Sure.
But if Jordan Poole continues to come off the bench and he's also going to be higher owned than Colin Sexton, that's kind of a mistake. That feels good for the lower owned Colin Sexton, and something that I would gladly take the ownership discount on.
Yeah, for sure. Currently, Jordan Poole sitting at 22%. Sexton is down to, where is he? Where's
12.
12. Wow. So yeah, almost 2-1 on the ownership difference there. You mentioned the 25% usage rates. Also 1.2 fantasy points per minute without Miller and LaMelo Ball on the floor. So, really good opportunities for him there. Again, the Poole, a pivot down, but in that same game, again, 2 bad teams, 2 bad defensive teams. I think it's kind of surprising that 2 bad defensive teams, the point totals, one of the lower of the 4 games on the slate, because, they just don't think that probably there's enough offense to go around even with the bad defense. But I guess we'll see. Where do you go with Ryan Rollins then, I guess? Does he get lost in sort of the shuffle there? Obviously a really bad start to yesterday's game, picked it up in the second half. Wasn't really enough to overcome the price tag, and still came out of there with 26 fantasy points. You've highlighted that Toronto's playing no defense. They're 25th, I think, in defensive rating as a team. So Rollins, any appeal to you tonight?
Yeah, 25th, nailed it. I will say I'm definitely interested in Ryan Rollins. It is worth mentioning, like we've seen this now a couple times. If he's playing poorly, Doc Rivers is not afraid to turn to Cole Anthony, and that happened end of the first half. Right, he benched Rollins for the final 4 minutes, and Cole Anthony closed over him. Didn't happen to end the game. Rollins played a monster role in the second half and like kind of got us back to what we needed. Like didn't get there ultimately, but was,
It wasn't as bad as it was.
Was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say he's in play, but just that has to be considered and like a thing, right? He had 7 turnovers, only took 8 shots, was the worst in both of those categories last night. But today's a new day. It's a really good matchup against Toronto, who's been terrible defensively. So yeah, and at that, Toronto's playing really, really fast too, eighth in pace as well. Yeah. So it's an overall really good spot for Rollins if you land there. And he's settling in another one that's like kind of in that same range, like the Poole Rollins, Sexton in terms of ownership.
Yeah,
I would probably rank them Sexton, Rollins, Poole.
Okay. Just taking the ownership discount on the plays.
Just taking the ownership discount, and plus we just don't know if Jordan Poole's going to start at this time.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously things can certainly change a little bit if other guys do move into that starting lineup.
Right.
From an ownership perspective, NAW is the 3rd highest rostered point guard as of now. Obviously, we talked about him taking on a larger role without Trae Young. Gets a matchup against Orlando. He's $5,800. Trae Jones is here, a guy that not many are playing, even in a matchup what we talked about with the high game total, close point spread, $5,500 for him. And then we have some value plays that we can talk about once we get below there. But thoughts on NAW, thoughts on Trae Jones tonight?
How many Hawks, John, without Trae Young on the floor, have a higher usage rate than NAW?
1.
Correct.
Jalen Johnson.
Incorrect. Kristaps Porzingis.
Porzingis. Okay.
Which
it's surprising, but I guess not.
Well, Zinger's just like what he is. It's a smaller sample. It's like almost half the minutes. Sure. But like NAW, we just haven't seen this role in Minnesota. 27% usage rate in 130 minutes without Trae Young this year. That's the most minutes out of anybody on the Hawks without Trae Young. 27% usage, higher than Jalen Johnson's 25.8, only lower than Porzingis at 28.3. Again, the offense has been the standout here. This has not been an offensive first player. He is highly coveted because he's so good defensively. But if this is just the role, he's starting point guard, gonna play 30 minutes, then it's just kind of what it is. And we have to take that at face value. Plus, he has the goated eligibility. He is point guard, small forward.
Yeah,
and it's quite good. So yeah, there's a lot to like about NAW.
Cam the Man thinks the small forward eligibility is steaming up the ownership. Definitely possible.
Yeah, I agree. It is a bad position. Trae Jones looks better if there's no IO.
Yeah.
And you just can't really play Suggs not knowing that. I do think we're going to see an uptick in minutes. He just hasn't had the opportunity because the last 2 games he's played has been a blowout.
Sure.
I do think mid-20s is on the table, but at this point, you kind of teased it. You'd rather just play Jeremiah Fears and, in his role.
Yep. I mean, Fears, 26, 29, 30 minutes. Sadly, the only day that I've played him was against Boston. Every other game has been absolute nails at his price tag and in his role. I get the absolute burner game of 1 for 11 shooting. This shouldn't be a game where he struggles to score. It's just whether or not as a rookie, he needs to sort of find that consistency, get that trust. Do we start thinking that this is sort of his opportunity to elevate? I would actually kind of hate if he played next to Jordan Poole because Poole's a guy that takes a million shots. So, and Jordan Poole takes some of the ugliest looking shots you'll ever see. He'll heave from the logo at any point in time. So Fear certainly an option. We do see Jose Alvarado at 10% tonight. If Alvarado popped into the starting lineup, I think it'd be super interesting because, again, this is another guy that we've seen have like sneaky offensive spurts, but we also know him for his defense. And if he's going to end up playing 25 minutes tonight, something like that, I think there's some appeal today at $3,600 when you're really trying to look for like the true bottom barrel value plays on this slate. There's only a couple of them. I think one of the earlier ownerships that I was really trying to figure out, and I still kind of high, was Jalen Smith was getting like 30% earlier today. That's now down to 20%, but still like $3,200 punt play people are looking for. Kevin Looney, huge value play tonight now that there's no UMC. He's over 40%, $3,200 punt play. So trying to find that like bottom of the barrel, under 4K scrub on a 4K game slate so you can stack in a Giannis and crew. I think is a task to see. And if Alvarado cracks the starting lineup, I could see that ownership go up big time.
So in the one game that Zion had previously missed against the Celtics, Alvarado was the second sub. Mm-hmm. He played 22 minutes. It was the Celtics game.
Yeah.
And that was the first.
They does play a lot of guards, right? So there's the 3-guard lineup.
They do play a lot of the guards. And they did start Fears and Poole, and that was the Fears terrible game. And that's why I didn't make a bad Fears dad pun for no reason. Yeah. I do Fears the worst if they're both starting. But I do think there is some merit to Alvarado. Like you said, it's just a punty play that has a ceiling at a cheap price tag. I am pretty sold on Jeremiah Fears, and I'm not making any sales pitches. I've seen a couple comments. Mr. TD said, "I'll take a stab at Fears." It's not a stab. He's the highest roster projected player of the slate. So he's going to be extremely popular, but without Zion this year, he has a 29.5% usage rate.
Yeah.
That is a monster number. Like you don't find those players at this price. Starting 30% usage player, sub 5K. Yeah. You don't find that player.
Jaden Hardy solo team usage rate, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like late season. And then I saw somebody comment. I think Jermaine said Messi, and I'm assuming he was commenting about Rashad's question. Yves Messi is also out.
Yeah,
Jermaine. I don't know if you knew that, but he's also not playing. So I just wanted to get those comments out there.
Sure.
We also had the Fears. I think it was it Fears versus Man question? Like
right I was going to hit a Man at shooting guard, but we can just talk about him now since we're moving to shooting guard anyways. Trey Man.
There's a point. There is another point guard I did want to talk about.
Okay, what's the point guard?
KJ Simpson.
Sure, which was also a Simpson versus Man question that we had as well. So we can wrap it all in together here.
Yeah, I mean, Charlotte's obviously a little bit interesting, just given no LaMelo and what's going to happen. So Simpson just simply operated as Sexton's backup in that game. He did close the final 3 minutes. So there was like 13 minutes basically of like regulation. I just don't think it's enough. He is good per minute. We saw it last year. Like anytime he got opportunity, like he largely was productive.
There was no Colin Sexton. KJ Simpson to be mooned all over the place.
Yeah, and like because Sion James is what he is. Like he's a 10% usage player through and through. I just don't think you can get to Simpson whether or not his ownership rises or not. It was 13 minutes when you factor in that he had 3 minutes of garbage time.
Yeah. And then we'll hit up Man since we had a couple of Man or questions. Again, he played 20 minutes in back-to-back games. Fantasy production's been fine. Outside of the Orlando game there, where he only got 16 minutes in that one. Again, we know he's a high usage rate player. He's going to take a lot of shots when he's on the floor. He's another guy where we say, repetitively, well, if the shots fall, the ceiling's there. You got 27 fantasy points out of him in 23 minutes against Minnesota. The goes for 6 of 15 shooting. He gives you a couple of assists. Boom, there you go. Pays off the price tag. He's $4,800 down though. He was like 4K, 4,200. The price is coming up here. Are you buying or selling some Trey Man today?
I don't love the price, truthfully. I don't like the price. I acknowledge that he is a very high usage player, and I acknowledge like the role is fine. I mean, he closed the first half over Sion James last game. Would that have he checked back in, John, at the 6-minute mark of the fourth quarter and then lost out on 3 minutes of garbage time? Does that signify that Trey Mann would have been in the closing lineup over Sion James? Possibly, right? And that puts him at 25 minutes, possibly. So if you end up on Trey Mann, it's definitely fine. I think it's a little too pricey, but if he does find his way to 25 minutes, I think that's a different discussion because he's someone in those extra 3 minutes who, if he hits 2 threes, well, that last outing looks a lot differently than it did.
Yep, I agree with you. Anything else here?
Let's go to shooting guard.
All right, again, smaller slate here. VJ Edgecombe is someone that you and I have talked a lot about, and then we did a deep dive of the Joel Embiid impact of VJ Edgecombe. The numbers are not good for Edgecombe, and Embiid is on the floor. His usage rate drops to 15%. However, Joel Embiid isn't playing 35 minutes a game. He's played 25 as a season high in his last game. He didn't play at all in the 76ers' most recent contest. It wasn't a great game for Edgecombe against Brooklyn. Jared McCain is back now tonight as well. We don't know sort of the overall impact he's going to play in the 76ers rotation, where those minutes come from. Basically a long way of saying, like, I'm not touching him at $7,500. I'm going to need to see that price drop a little bit. If he did go out, played 38 minutes and scored 25 points tonight, I also wouldn't be surprised because he's a very good player that we're super high on. 240 total, 1 point spread. A lot of things are working potentially in his favor. Just not a spot we're looking to go today.
No, I have nothing to add. Let's talk. The next tier is the interesting tier.
Okay. Murphy 69, Barrett 68. We've touched on Sexton already. Daniels, Bain. I guess we'll cut it off there. We can talk about the bottom half of 6K. Actually, we'll throw Grimes in the mix too. Why not? He's the final 6K play there. I put up RJ Barrett in a lot of things today. Again, he's in my DFS video. He's in the playbook. I got Raptors on the cover of the playbook here today. I just really like, I think, this Toronto-Milwaukee game where a lot of people are obviously looking at the 1.240 total in Philly-Chicago, but Toronto's getting some ownership today. So where are you in Barrett? And then I assume you like Murphy. We kind of talked a little bit about him on the preview show as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think RJ looks very good. Third in usage behind Ingram and Barnes. And in that order, I think it is solid. He's been just a good scorer for them, playing a lot of minutes, playing more minutes than a lot of them, especially the last 2 games. The minutes are trending upwards in these wins, where he lost out some time in blowout earlier. Yeah, I think Barrett looks great. Milwaukee's been good defensively, but good, not great. Mm-hmm. I'm going to put the clown mask on with Trey Murphy again. It's confusing to me because I was just looking at it. Just taking Zion off the floor last year, he had a 25% usage rate. And that's not including anything else. I mean, last year's team was totally different. DeJounte Murray, Brandon Ingram, he played with all those players. Baseline, 25% usage. This year, it's 19% without Zion. And even you look at the last game, it was a 17% usage rate for Trey Murphy. You look at the game before that, and these are games he's actually scored in, 18.6% usage.
Well, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. Juan Fierce has a 30% usage rate.
Yeah, it's just...
And Jordan Poole is also another guy that when he gets on the floor just takes a lot of shots.
It's just not fun. He is too good to be this bad. But, I mean, he's in play, but he's also now the highest rostered shooting guard of the day. So there's obvious leverage going to Barrett, going to Sexton, someone we talked about, going to Dyson Daniels, whose role has completely shifted sans Trae Young. Both games without Trae Young, the minutes are 37 per game. The points were 18. He's tied with Jalen Johnson in potential assists. He's up there in rebounds and we know what the steals can be. So I think there's a lot to like in the 6K tier, and that includes Murphy. But if you want to pivot, there's plenty of options. And like you said, Quentin Grimes is definitely in play. I just wonder who on the pecking order loses time. Do they just decide we don't need the like Jabari Walker minutes anymore, right? And they just kind of like go small and use Oubre as their power forward and like move Grimes into the starting lineup, because that's how you would maximize the McCain minutes. Yeah. I saw somebody ask about McCain and the minutes. I have no idea. It was a thumb, but this is his first action since his knee injury. Like I know he's returning from a thumb, but he's also returning from the knee. Like this is a double-sided, like a kind of a double-sided coin here, where major knee injury ends last year, then has a thumb injury. So I can't imagine it's anywhere over 20.
Yeah. But I'm looking at our NFL beat writers list here to see if we can get
NBA beat writers.
Yeah, what did I say?
NFL.
I do too many things here, man.
Yeah.
NBA beat writers list here. See if we can just get something on the minutes potentially for
from Nurse. Nurse, we've talked about this. Nurse will speak to the media.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. So, like, I imagine the first question someone's gonna be like, "So, how many minutes will McCain play today?"
First question's Embiid's minutes. Second question's in like a lineup question / McCain's minutes for sure.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm expecting to come. So hopefully we get that on the show. Otherwise, we'll be updated in the playbook for all of you guys and in our Discord. Shooting guard ownership, again, once you kind of get past Murphy, Poole, Colin Kneppel, obviously, shot lights out, 4 of 9 from 3, 9 of 17 from the floor, 24, 6 and 5. He's been pretty good kind of chipping in with rebounds and assists there. We know the 3-point shooting's elite for him. Great matchup against the Pelicans, second worst defensive rating in the NBA. Are you at $5,500? He's even cheaper, I think, on FanDuel tonight too. If you're playing over there, like it almost feels like a must plug. I actually kind of expected ownership to be a little bit higher than it is. It's only around 20%. Does that surprise you at all?
I guess. I mean, he's not like a high usage guy at this point. Like he was, even in the last game without LaMelo, 19.5, 5th on the team, which is, 19.5 is still fine. Good positional eligibility over the last 2 games, 15 potential rebounds per game. As you mentioned, he's been rebounding. It's a good spot. I don't have much to add. I think we saw a ceiling performance out of him that he could have again, or, we've kind of seen what happens to rookies sometimes. Like it's been very up and down, but again, there's no LaMelo. That's the key here.
Yep. I'm with you on that. Just funny looking at the Pelican stuff, as you mentioned, not a single Pelicans regular averages over a fantasy point per minute with Zion off the floor. They're all under 1. Yeah. So even with all the usage rates that you're getting out of Poole and getting out of Fears, they're still averaging less than a fantasy point per minute there. So let's see other shooting guard options for us. A lot of these guys have dual position eligibility. Io is getting 20%. If he plays tonight, $4,400. Would you rather Io at 44 or Man at 48?
Io at 44. It is, and then the answer is probably even still Herder if Io doesn't play. Like, I still probably just play one of those Bulls. This is a good spot for them. Philly's going to run a lot of guard lineups. Chicago has just been giving a lot of minutes to Dosunmu and Herder off the bench. So I think if Io's in, he looks great at 44. If Herder's without Io, he looks great at 46.
Sure. I agree. Anything else here at shooting guard?
No, just a couple of comments. Anthony asked why we didn't talk about Isaiah Stewart. Well, Isaiah Stewart wasn't starting during the show. It is worth mentioning that he did end up starting. Tobias Harris wasn't ruled out at that point. So we just didn't know.
Had you and I both commented when we're like, oh man, they're starting both together. Privately, and I think we put it in a Discord as well that Beef Stew was starting for them. Had we known on the show, we would have talked him up. He's a super high fantasy point per minute player. So,
and then DePrince asked why clown mask about Trey Murphy. Obviously, that means DePrince has Trey Murphy in his lineup, and he's wondering. It just hasn't worked. He just hasn't been a high fantasy player, a good fantasy player. He hasn't been a high usage player. He was last year.
He's knocked down 5 threes in back-to-back games, but that still hasn't been enough to pay off.
Yeah, it hasn't mattered. It hasn't mattered. He hasn't done anything else. So it was just joke. It was like it was more
a kid, you know?
Yeah.
All right, small forward. Franz Wagner, $7,700. Brandon Ingram, 73. Ingram is the cover of the playbook. He is also the cover of the DFS top 5 video that I put out today. You can go check that out on the YouTube channel. He's the second highest rostered small forward today. NEW, as we mentioned, getting all the ownership there. He's number 1. Knebel's number 2, or number 3 rather, because he also has the dual positional eligibility. So when it comes to spending up today, it is Brandon Ingram with the bullet. He is the highest usage rate player on this team, 26.6%, 40 plus fantasy points in 3 straight games. Does a little bit of everything. And again, they're actually home favorites today, despite their poor defense. A decent game total here, catching Milwaukee on a back-to-back. This could also just have a lot to do again with sort of how poor the position is. But I was high on Ingram going into this matchup before really deep diving into it, and I came out of it feeling the same way about him.
I do find it interesting they're home favorites. That's all I'll say.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's still not out of the realm of possibility that we get a late questionable on Giannis. That's all I'm saying.
That's exactly. He was probable. I mean, he's been on the injury report every day this year, and he sat after lock, which we won't happen because it's the 7:30 game.
Yeah.
But there's obviously an chance that he does get late scratched.
That's true. 7:30. So we have some extra time for the lineup to come out than usual on this show when it's a 7 o'clock clock. So
yeah, I like Ingram. You know, leader in usage, has fit in nicely. He's just a good offensive player. It just he hasn't really suffered as much as like Emmanuel Quickly has. He hasn't really suffered like Scotty has had some monster games, but then Scotty goes absolutely absent. Like he's just not even available, where Ingram's just kind of been
the shots are always there for him.
Yeah. Other than the Wemby other than a non 3-point shooting team facing Victor Wembanyama in the paint, like that was the one bad game that Brandon Ingram has had. I don't think we're going to get it. He's also, I also don't know what his ceiling is on this team.
Sure.
Like, I think he's a very safe play, and I'm not saying I wouldn't play him in like a tournament and whatnot. And I only say that because like there's so many of them. And like, if Pirtle comes back tonight, that's even worse for him, like on the rebounding front or so I think he's a very good play. I'm just saying, I don't know if I play Scotty Barnes, he has 60-point upside. I don't think Brandon Ingram has that in the current iteration of the Raptors.
He would probably need to score. And I said, he has a game with 29 actual already. He'd need to score 25, 35 points actual, and then give you a little bit of the other stuff that he's been capable of getting to you. This is also, and we talk about this a lot on small slates, probably just a raw points play. Where it's like at some point you just need guys that can give you 40 fantasy points, and even if maybe it's only a 4x return or 4.5x, there's enough value here to kind of make that work, because there's only so many players on this slate that even have 60 or 70 fantasy point potential. So, Ingram certainly fits in that crew. Again, no knock on Wagner. He's a little bit cheaper, a little bit more expensive rather. He's sort of in the same boat where scoring's been great. He does a little bit of everything. He's on a really good team with a lot of guys that do a lot of good things. Matchup against Atlanta's fine. The total's fine. He's capable of giving you high output. It's just a guy that people are rather saving the couple of $100 in playing Ingram over him today.
Wagner is similar to Ingram. Like they're on a team of like really good players everywhere. Not that Franz Wagner is like 1B to Paolo at this point. It's a similar scenario.
Yep. Good news for Anthony. Tobias Harris already ruled out for tomorrow, so we will be talking some Isaiah Stewart tomorrow. Tonight. We'll talk about today. We'll talk about tonight on the preview show. Be on the lookout at that, like 10 o'clock at night. All right, your other small forward, Sadiq Bey, is getting some ownership. We talked to IU already. Herb Jones. Actually, we just got a live update. Bey is now the highest rostered small forward of the slate. So take that for what it's worth.
I mean, you're removing 2 starters for the Pelicans. and the head coach is fighting for his job. I feel like Sadiq Bey, veteran player, probably is a guy that gets extended, but and it's on a slate kind of like a lot of wishy-washy value, especially when a lot of the day it was straight backups getting a lot of the ownership for value plays. So yeah, I mean Sadiq is
I don't really
live.
want to play him though. I think I'd rather let 30% of the field play Sadiq Bey. Are you in on Sadiq Bey today?
I'm kind of indifferent about it. I mean, what's the starting lineup? For sure, Fears, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy. That's 3. I assume Kevon Looney is your starter. I guess they could technically go DeAndre. They did that against Jokic the other day where they started DeAndre. So one of Looney and Jordan is your center. And then who's your 5th starter? Derek Queen played all those minutes in the Spurs game. Barely's played since then. In fact, against OKC, he didn't play until the final 7 minutes of the game in a blowout.
Mm-hmm.
Could be the option. They could go Jordan Poole and just go like guard heavy with like Murphy, Herb as your wings.
Sure.
Or you could go Sadiq, Matkovic. I mean, there's a couple options here.
0.65 fantasy points per minute without Zion on the floor this year.
You said every Pelican is
like
every Pelican, and he's not like a high usage player. They have been a terrible team. This is like the Brooklyn conversation yesterday, where like everyone flocked to playing Brooklyn when Michael Porter was out. The only thing is the Pelicans are down 2 starters today.
Yeah.
They're down Misi.
Some of those Nets players actually were fine for fantasy.
No, they were. And also the Pelicans are largely more expensive. Like Sadiq Bey 41. You had a starting Terrence Mann and a starting Tyrese like at 41 yesterday. You had Tyrese Martin at 36.
Yeah.
It's more of a like wait and see for me. If he's starting, I would definitely give him a look. You're not wrong. Like the field is chasing a 0.6 fantasy point per minute player. That's not a good number.
I was going to say like 18% usage rate, 0.6 fantasy points per minute without Zion on the floor. I would feel better about it if there wasn't like 30% usage rate players that might start that game, right? Like where do the touches go if they go Poole, Fears, Murphy? How is Sadiq Bey finding any shots in that game?
And let me ask you this. I'll ask it like this: if Io plays, would you rather play Io or Sadiq Bey? If they're both coming off the bench,
Io.
What if Sadiq's starting?
I still might play Io, man. We've seen him just do more with the ball when he's on the floor.
Yep.
I mean, Herb Jones is a little bit more expensive. He's getting there. I've talked a lot about liking Gary Trent. I mean, I know he's obviously $800 more expensive than Bey and that crew, but like Gary Trent's minutes are really good. He takes a lot of shots.
Yeah, it's threes. It's about the threes.
Yeah. Takes a lot of threes. We just talked about Toronto, terrible defensively. Like, I know they're kind of long and whatnot, but like 25th in defensive team rating. They're all just going to collapse in on Giannis when he's in the paint. Gary Trent knocks down his threes tonight.
They built the proper team around Giannis.
Mm-hmm. Green,
they have
Trent, like just
Miles Turner. Like they put floor spacing everywhere. So yeah, I mean, if he makes shots, then he's gonna pay it off. But there's nothing else. It's just if Gary Trent makes 6 threes tonight, then you're in a good spot.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously he chips in a little bit with some steals. You see the assist and rebound numbers there, but yeah, largely it's knocking down threes, but he takes so many of them.
If
he just gets going.
It's so many of them.
There's an opportunity there for Trent in tournaments tonight, especially he's more of a DraftKings play. Obviously you get the bonus for the 3-pointers there. Patrick Williams is checking in around 10%. We talked a little bit about him. If Io is to be ruled out tonight, there's opportunities for additional minutes there. Anything else at small forward?
I like Pat Will for the record. The role was really good last game. I mean, 18% usage isn't great, but he closed both halves over Okoro.
Mm-hmm.
If there's no Io, I'm considering it for sure.
Okay. Going on over then to the power forward position. Anthony says you must play Giannis today. I don't really disagree, I guess, if he's going to
No,
be active.
is Giannis the must play?
Oh, is Giannis a must play? I thought he said he is. I mean, I kind of think so. I think if he's going to play tonight, there's definitely enough value to get to him comfortably. It's a small slate. We've talked about like raw points matter. He went for 61 last night. 60, 70 fantasy points, certainly doable against a bad defensive team. I mean, Jakob Poeltl back, great. Jakob Poeltl's not a good defensive player.
No, they're terrible. I mean, they're just terrible defensive.
So, like, yeah, I would, if I can find a way to comfortably fit Giannis in my lineup tonight, I would do it. There's also a lot of fair and balanced builds today where you can get 4 8K players that can give me 40 fantasy points, which is what the Prince is asking for. So yeah, I if you can find it and get comfortable with like a Giannis Giddey build with some value, like shoot the moon, man. I think you can get there.
I can't tell you not to play Giannis. I would say he's the second highest rostered power forward of the day.
Yep.
And you have you have extreme high, a lot of leverage if you don't play him and he doesn't get you 60 fantasy points.
Because there's 2 power forwards here. They're lesser rostered than Giannis. The one
that literally could go for 6. That could go for 60. Honestly, I'll say 3. Okay. I think the next 3, because I'll throw Bridges in there. 4. I mean, Scotty just went for 60.
Scotty just went for 60.
The next 4 could get you 60.
Yep.
In a ceiling outing.
But can they get you 80?
Did you? No. But
Giannis has that this year.
No. But that's like the risk. Like that's like the risk reward you take with fading Giannis at
I agree.
The ownership he's at. Did you see the comment we had?
About Josh Smith and all that.
Dude, we didn't even we talked the Josh Smith stuff last night without even realizing they're going into Atlanta.
Yeah.
You don't think Paolo's been listening to? Dude, he's been staring at a picture of Josh Smith all day, like crossing it out with like a red marker all day. Like he's
sure.
Paolo's a killer, dude.
Josh Smith was a good player.
Well, he was he would. I would understand why someone would not want to be compared to Josh Smith, because he was a crazy player too. Like way too many threes, way too many wild possessions offensively. The athleticism was through the roof.
That was the guy who came second defensive player of the year on his all NBA defensive team.
How early in his career?
2009. 5th, 6th year in the league. He was at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight seasons. He got votes for defensive player of the year.
Okay. Respect to Josh Smith.
Yeah. Dude, crazy block numbers for Josh Smith. Almost 2 blocks per game for his career. Nothing. Well, what we remember Josh Smith for is he loves shooting threes at a 28%.
Too many threes. But I said it to you on the show last night. Paolo, career low in 3-pointers, career low mid-range, career high in shots at near the rim.
No doubt Paolo is a far better overall basketball player. That's not even really an argument here.
Yeah, the playmaking is special. He's a special player.
But you have Jalen Johnson just below him. Same game.
Dude, he's so good. Oh my God.
Grande goes to bed every night looking at a poster of Jalen Johnson.
It's the Wolverine meme. It's the Wolverine meme where I just have a picture of Jalen Johnson. Yeah.
Also really good. Wish he took more free throws, honestly. Would like to see him get to the line more.
Well, he doesn't get fouled because he just simply can dunk over you without being touched, like his arm, and he can jump over people.
Sure.
So yeah, I don't disagree. I think there's a case to fade Giannis if you're playing Paolo, Johnson, Bridges, or Barnes. I think they're all such a great tier.
My developing opinion as I crunch this a little bit further here is that there's obviously, we talked about all the value that's there, but seeing people flock to Sadiq Bey, they just end up having too much money left, and they're looking at Paolo and Johnson, and they're like, well, I have $2,000, I'll just play Giannis.
Yeah.
And they just move up because we do that sometimes. We build lineups. You're like, I have too much money with all the guys I like. This can't be right. I have to do something else, right? And they just spend up and get to Giannis. It doesn't really remove me from my take. I do think Giannis is a really good play today. It's just whether or not key plays is the question. We'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. Obviously, again, Bridges, great spot. Barnes, we've talked enough about Toronto. You can get to either of those two plays. How would you rank, I guess, Paolo, Johnson, Bridges, and Barnes?
Not fair. It's not fair.
Well, I'm the one running the show, so I'm asking you the question.
I mean,
Jakob Poeltl officially in, by the way.
Jakob Poeltl in. Okay. How would I rank them? I think in tournaments, Paolo might be 1, only because the ownership is the lowest. I think Bridges is the safest of the group on the court. Definitely not off.
Sure.
Johnson is first in potential rebounds since Trey went out, has a 25% usage. Hard for me not to go there. He has probably the toughest matchup of the group, but like the role is super elite.
Mm-hmm.
I would rank them Bridges, Johnson, Banchero, Barnes,
Okay.
but I don't.
Poeltl will play, but will be limited per coach.
Okay, I mean that Murray Boyles and Mahmoud Kelishvili will be in the mix there.
Rotating foul opportunities.
Foul opportunity.
That's what they're going to be doing. All right, so that's your group in the 8K range. Again, I agree. I think they're all pretty elite. If you're going to get there, Bridges is the highest roster of the group. From an ownership, it goes Bridges, Johnson, Barnes, and then Paolo is
no ownership, dude. No ownership.
No one's playing Paolo because he's the most expensive of the 4. So
yes.
You get the ownership there. Pat Will Matis is 15%. Your boy Bazulis here.
Yeah, it's fine. It's a great matchup, obviously. Philly bad defensively, playing really fast, or not playing fast, but 240 total. Matas has a super high ceiling. No problems there.
We had a Derek Queen question. Derek Queen is getting like 8% tonight.
Nobody knows what to do with the Pelicans because the Pelicans don't know what they're doing with the Pelicans.
They should be playing this guy, as he put as the question. I'm trying to find it in the chat here. It's like they traded this team. They traded their whole draft for him. Why aren't they playing? I was like, yeah, great, fair question to ask the coach.
Who might not be the coach? Who might not be the coach for very long?
Why is Queen not playing? They gave up a ton for him. Yeah, honestly, the one game they extended him, he was looking really good against San Antonio. Looked really good against Boston in his 20 minutes on the floor. I don't know. I don't know why they decide to play Kevon Looney over Derek Queen or DeAndre Jordan over Derek Queen. Why are they playing Sadiq Bey over Derek Queen? Why are they playing any of these washed veterans over the dude you literally gave up your draft?
No. I don't have anything else to comment. I can't keep doing. We can't keep doing this. This is Willie Green's last day on the job. It's the last day of the job.
I don't have answers.
I think that the outcomes we're looking at the range of outcome on the screen with Derek Queen, right? He played 35 minutes in the second game of the year. He only played yesterday because it was a blowout. So range of outcome they played 7 games.
How is he playing 7 minutes in a game that they lose by 29 or
they
half 31? Like how are they like that guy should have been on the floor to start the fourth and played the entire quarter.
I am certainly in on Derek Queen, and he will be extremely high. He will be extremely popular if we end up finding out he's starting. But if he's not,
time, you got to know in time. That's the other question.
If he's not,
he may not play at all.
Dude,
cannot play.
That's your risk reward in GPPs, right? Like you're playing a guy who could just not play because the coach is trying to save his job.
At center, the top 2 rostered players are under $4,000. Kevon Looney is 50% rostered right now.
Yeah, I don't know.
50% rostered for a guy who just played 16 minutes the night before. Granted, again, there's no Yves Missi in this slot.
Who's had knee problems for like 2 years.
50% is playing the $3,200. 23% is playing Moussa Diabate, who I would absolutely rather play than Kevon Looney. Diabate, even in his limited role, we know what he's capable of doing. Good rebounder, good guide on the offensive glass. You're like Clint Capella light, type center here. Those are your two highest roster plays. Vucevic is your spend up tonight on here. He's 20%.
I was gonna say 3 of 4 are potentially backup centers, or like.
I still want to get your thought why Jalen Smith is, other than what Jalen Smith has just been, what he's been for the last 5 years, is
he's good. He's good at fantasy
point per minute.
Yeah, he's good. That's it.
Right?
He's good at fantasy. He's only going to play the backup minutes. He's not going to be on the floor with. He's the straight backup. They're going to split 48 minutes, but if it's close, we've seen Vooch play 34 minutes. That Jalen Smith game, he played 14. So
even those games last year where Vooch didn't play, Jalen Smith still only got like 20.
They did have Zach Collins. They did have Zach Collins, who's hurt right now.
Didn't they have Drummond too for like a spell?
They did. They had Drummond for a couple seasons, but he signed on to be the Philly backup last year.
Yeah. All right. So Vooch obviously is in a good spot. Yes, he has Joel Embiid, but as we've talked about, Embiid can't really play defense right now because he's slow and can't move. So yeah, you want to spend up there. That's great. You'll have some backup minutes against Dembona and Drummond, as we talked about. Embiid's under 10% tonight. I did write him up. I did put him in the DFS top plays video with sort of the caveat that I'm like, I would like to see Nurse say he can play 28 minutes because we've seen what he can do in 23 and 25. It's still like a very elite number. Vooch isn't a great defensive player by any stretch. He can still score. You can see him rebound the basketball. Offensively, he is great. It's almost as if he's just exerting all of his ability on the offensive side right now because he's like, well, I only have so many minutes. I don't want to waste energy playing defense. I'd rather score. If Nurse comes out and says, yeah, he's going to play a little bit more tonight, I think the ownership is going to move up on Embiid here.
Yeah, you're overshooting this. You don't need him to say 28 because 20 has already been a lie. Like Nurse is saying he's going to play 20. He hasn't played 20 in 2 games, right?
23 and 25.
So if he comes out,
he's going to stay around 20 minutes is what I think the words were from Nurse.
If he comes out and says he's going to play around 25, then he's playing 30 tonight. We're getting 30 minutes out of Embiid, and then I'm immediately plugging him into my lineups. Undoubtedly, that's not even a thought because if we're getting to a point where Joel Embiid's extended even more, we might as well just start taking the reins off completely because like. Now JoJo's going to be fighting to be like, dude, look at what I'm doing right now. I'm just going to stay out there for a couple more minutes. So, if it's 25, my brain tells me Joel Embiid's playing 30 tonight, and 30 minutes, I'm playing a $7,600 Joel Embiid, and nobody can stop me.
Again, I wrote that up. I'm like, this guy can go for 50 if the minutes are going to be there for him. So, I'm a fan, obviously, of JoJo. There's a ton of risk involved with that play. Yes. Miles Turner is getting a little bit of ownership love at 10%. Then everybody else is underneath it. I thought we would see more out of Wendell Carter today, given the games that he's coming off of. Over 30 now in 3 of the last 4, 36 and 35 in the last 2. We've obviously talked about super efficient scoring the basketball, super efficient shooting from 3. He's going to play the minutes, though. He's a good player. They got Zinger out there. I thought we'd get more out of him at the price point. $5,500, but not to be. He's under 5%, or I guess now he's 7% now. Where are you, I guess, at the rest of the center position? Turner, Zinger, Carter. Anybody stand out to you?
Yeah, I like Zinger in tournaments. We'll eventually see the minutes like 30 plus, but even at 28, he's a very high usage player, and the price is coming down. So I don't hate it. Same thing for Okongwu tournaments. Miles Turner has looked very clunky. I mean, there just hasn't really been a lot of opportunity for him. In the case that Giannis were to be ruled out, we saw his role expand. He took 12 shots, tied for the most this year, had 17 points. That was the most he had this year. So in that case, I would get to Turner, but unless we get a late Giannis scratch, I'm probably not going there. Carter's just like so low usage, 16% usage rate player this year. He's been around a fantasy point per minute. So, with guys who rebound like this, he's rebounded well in every game he hasn't fouled in, right? He fouled out of the Detroit game. And also, that's actually not true this year. Magic are playing really fast. Our boy Luch in the chat.
What's up, Luch?
They
well,
are
that's what I said
fifth.
to you the other day. I was like, Magic usually plays slow. They're playing faster. They got
Fifth.
Bane now, so they got to
Yeah,
run.
tied for fifth in pace this year, which is shocking.
Maybe he's saying that they're playing at a pace bump than usual, which could also be true.
Yeah, Atlanta 10th. I mean, for sure. They are, not used to seeing, let me tell you something, not used to seeing the Miami Heat and the Orlando Magic both top 5 in pace.
And running gun offenses, those two guys,
yeah. Carter's like ultimately fine. I do think there's a discussion to be had here about the Pelicans and like why people would want to play Kevon Looney this much. Like, there is absolutely nothing guaranteeing Kevon, like literally nothing guaranteeing Kevon Looney's minutes.
Nope.
Like, they're other than Yves Missi not being around. But like, even in that scenario, they started DeAndre Jordan. Like, they could just do that again, and we could be seeing now. They sent Hunter Dickinson to the G League, so like that's not a thing for them anymore. But there's multiple options. Like, there's multiple things at play tonight.
Yeah, I would have no confidence in him playing more than 20 minutes tonight. So
what I was gonna say, that was gonna be my next question. Like, what is legitimately the ceiling on minutes? And like that's it. Like, Jalen Smith at the same price is going to probably play fewer minutes than Kevon Looney, but Jalen Smith is a very, very good fantasy player. Kevon Looney is a very good like screener. He's a very good offensive rebounder.
The only thing that Kevon Looney could do tonight is catch all of the bricks that Jordan Poole shoots and just offensive putbacks. Right.
Yeah, but those bricks are a lot of them are going to be long rebounds that Kevon Looney's not even going to have a shot at.
He's used to it when they were teammates in Golden State, just catching all the long rebound threes. But I would much rather take my chances playing Jalen Smith at 20% ownership than a 60% Kevon Looney tonight. I would agree with you.
I just think there's just more of a ceiling, right?
I don't really want to play either of them too, by the way. I don't actually want to play these guys, but I'm just saying if you really made me pick one, I'd rather play the guy in a 240 total with a 1-point spread that has I'll pull it up. You might even have it. What is Jalen Smith's current fantasy point per minute output? Let's see. It is Jalen Smith. He is 1.18 fantasy points per minute.
1.16 on FanDuel. So it's just he's almost 1.2 on both platforms.
22% usage rate for Jalen Smith this year.
Dude, he's in there for a good time, not a long time.
In there for a good time. So I would much rather play that guy at 32 than Kevon Dust Looney. So
yeah, that is and you know what? That's payback. I made you answer that question. Center is a weird position today. I think take some shots. And I think that's why people are punting the position. But I also would rather play Musa over both if we're playing
for sure
sub 4K centers. Yeah. If we're playing sub 4K centers, that could all change. And none of these players will be rostered if Derek Queen or Makovic start.
Yeah.
If one of those two start, none of this conversation even matters. It's pretend like it doesn't, right? It won't. So yeah.
I mean, Diabate and Jalen Smith are obviously both backup centers. Diabate does have a little bit of a minute ceiling. 18% usage rate for Diabate from a fantasy point perspective. He's averaging 1.14, so very similar. Obviously a little bit more usage from Jalen Smith, 1.18 versus 1.14 fantasy points per minute for the two.
Yeah, same.
Same. So basically the same thing. You're saving just a little bit of money on that. Diabate is 21%. Looney's getting 48% right now.
It's crazy, dude.
Jalen Smith's 13. So yeah. Queen's 7. But like I said, that would immediately jump if he ends up being the one starting tonight there. So all right. Well, let's get a lineup build going. Obviously, we'll go fears.
I can't believe Kevon Looney is. It's just, dude, half the field just like, I guess I got to play Kevon Looney tonight. It's like, I guess you don't.
Fears Sexton. My computer froze. Here we go. Fears.
A lot of us do, John.
What happened?
What
happened? Jalen Johnson.
Oh,
fair and balance here. What do we think? Ingram. I don't know what's going on. My computer froze. What happened? Vuk foul trouble and gets a B. Jalen Smith gets minutes.
I mean, it's game theory. It's game theory, but yeah. Theory.
Who's to say Jalen Johnson doesn't come in and then get foul trouble from Joel Embiid? Also very possible.
Well, Jalen Johnson won't, but Jalen Smith could.
Jalen Smith, yeah. Jalen Johnson can't. If Jalen Johnson gets in foul trouble by Joel Embiid in this game,
something has gone terribly wrong.
Happened.
Giannis is officially available.
Okay. All right, where else do we want to go here? 5,600 Fears, Sexton, Ingram, Johnson.
Diabate right now?
Musa.
Yeah. And we'll leave it.
All right, full lineup goes in the Discord. You guys know the drill. Guard, forward, util will be posted in there. You guys want to join the Fantasy Alarm family? You see the scroll down at the bottom. FantasyAlarm.com/YouTube. Promo code YT50 will autofill for you guys. Just click the apply button. You'll get 50% off your first month. That's $19.99 for the first month. That's all access to all sports, all content, betting, DFS, seasonal, premium Discord access, all of our tools, our lineup generator, our ownership numbers, our projections, all included in your all-pro package. 50% off that first month there, $19.99 a month. Or in the top corner, you see 20% off at NBA 20. That is consistently a 20% off each month. So a better value if you hang with us for the rest of the season. You'll save 20% off throughout. Otherwise, if you want to try us out for that first month, 50% off. Hey, you know what? Try us out for the first month. Take 50% off. If you like it, you can cancel. You can join for NBA 20 and save 20% off each month after that. So scan the QR code or go to fantasyalarm.com/YouTube to take 50% off, or go to fantasyalarm.com/NBA20 to take 20% off the monthly cost there. Grande, what's up?
I was saying to Jeffrey that he's the GOAT.
Oh.
Because he called me the GOAT. But I appreciate you, Jeffrey. You're the GOAT.
Fine. I'm just here. I just do this.
I used to be a Giants fan too, Jeffrey, but they broke me.
Jackson Dart looks good.
I don't care.
Jackson Dart in my NFL DFS top 5 video. Go check that out. Because I'm doing a lot of things over at Fantasy Alarm. Guys, good luck with your 4-game slate tonight. We'll have the playbook updates, the ownership updates in a little bit here. Grande and I will be back tonight for the preview show, so be on the lookout for that, probably around 10 or 11 o'clock maybe. And then we'll have the live show tomorrow at 5. We'll see you then.